Hi guys, good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. And for those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very, very much for your subscriptions. So this is the daily forecast for the Greater Collective for August the 20th, Thursday. If you're watching it on a day that's not August the 20th, that's okay. It's still a message for the Greater Collective, for the highest good. So my belief is that when you see this is when you're supposed to see it. It doesn't necessarily have to be on the day that it was created for. Okay, the bigger intention behind it is that it's for the highest good of the Greater Collective, which includes you as you watch this. For those of you that want to support me over on Instagram, you can follow me at Engelgeist333. You can also like my business page over on Facebook. That's where you would direct any questions if you're interested in a private reading. This is a broad spectrum general reading of the energy of what we should be dealing with, or what we can hopefully be, harnessing during the 20th of August, or whatever date that we're seeing this on. We want to utilize these energies, or whatever we see in the cards today, to be aware, help us make that more informed decisions, and possibly validate some things that we already may know. All right, so let's see what's going on with this energy. We also just had the new moon. Or we're about to have the new moon tonight as I film this, but you'll be seeing this the day after the new moon. So hopefully you spent time thinking about what it is you want to let go of and what you want to create. We've definitely seen some of that letting go energy in the last 2 days of the forecast. So that would correspond and corroborate beautifully with the new moon energy that we have. And we can always utilize that new moon energy for the next few days too, keeping that in mind. So if we forgot to do our ritual, or some sort of formalization of honoring whatever it is we want to release and then create in its space, we can still utilize the next few days to keep that as a focus. So let's see, what do we need to know today? Oh, wow. Okay. Death is back, guys. All right. So we just had this card 2 days ago, and this is that new moon energy, I think. I really, it didn't dawn on me until I just looked at the calendar and started talking about that new moon stuff. There's a possibility for a significant release, for a significant transformation, for a letting go, for a no longer fighting, for sort of stopping the creation of further chaos in our lives, if that makes any sense. To me, death is a transformation. It's definitely shown in the beauty of those flowers next to that crow that's laying on its back. There's something that hopefully we're learning, that we're transcending, that we are changing in our situation, or there is certainly the opportunity to do so. Right? Death usually has a little bit of a kind of a fear factor to it, right? It's something that we don't necessarily always feel in control of. But when I look at that crow laying on his back, where you see the skeleton right here, this to me feels very much at peace, right? There is a sort of a rest, or an opportunity where we can sort of honor ourselves and where we're at, and not kind of put any sort of further responsibility, further struggle, further strife upon ourselves. We can just sort of let things be as they are. And when we do that, we sort of almost free ourselves. And that's where we see this crow rising up. And to me, I feel like this crow is actually free to sort of maybe choose another path, choose another opportunity, see something from a different light or a different vantage point. But we have to kind of go through this, what I would consider to be a profound release, right? Which would be this death card. We have to sort of maybe almost even sit still and acknowledge everything that's going on around us. Maybe seeing some things we don't really want to see, or sitting with some things that we don't necessarily want to acknowledge. But as we begin to acknowledge them and find ease with them, we actually sort of free ourselves. And and that situation maybe, or that person, whatever it might be that we're needing to let go of, um, will transform in front of our very eyes, or we will transform our relationship to it, right? And as we do that, we're able to sort of usher in the change or the opportunities that will enable us to be able to change something into something that's better suited for us. Now, for some of you, that might mean the actual release and separation completely, similar to like how a death would provide. So usually a death is no longer, right, in that regard. But for some of you, death could represent like sort of removing something or removing ourselves and our attention from something that's no longer serving us, so that we can then get about creating something that does, or to like fill that space, that area of our lives with something that's more fulfilling, more in line with who we are now. So I look at this as an empowerment card. It's funny, when I was shuffling the deck, I had a feeling we were going to see a repeat card today. So let's see what's going on with the Angels and Ancestors deck. I also think that this is very much the new moon energy of releasing in the new moon and deciding what it is that we want to replace it with. Okay, I love this. Hey Crow, we've got, well, this might be a raven, I'm not sure, but to me it's definitely double crow energy, similar to the double mountains we saw yesterday. Something's going on with these cards, guys. These cards are really trying to speak to us. So autumn, it says here, and it says release the old and rest. All right, so we have this crow down here resting in this death card, right? There's something that we need to sit with. There's something that I feel like we might, if we sit with it for too long, we might be fearful of it, right? Or we might have been running from it, similar to how like we all kind of spend most of our lives running from the act of death, but sooner or later death catches up to us, right? We all have to experience it. But what I feel like when I'm looking at this is that these cards are telling us to sort of sit still, face whatever it is we don't want to face, allow ourselves to kind of become maybe in acceptance of it, so therefore we can kind of transform it, right? And I'm not saying that we have to control it, but I think that there's something to be said here about better understanding our situations or our relationships, whatever it might be that's causing us struggle or strife, whatever that isn't working for us, or that might be, in the back of our mind, kind of giving us a little bit of trouble. This is, or even a bit of trouble. For some of you, it might be blatantly obvious. I kind of feel like death is a pretty impactful card, so it should be a fairly obvious situation. You're going to have to apply these cards to whatever situations you're dealing with in your life. But, and I also want to honor the aspect of this. Even though that crow is sort of laying on his back, I don't feel like this death card means that we're giving up. In a sense, we're giving up the fight, but we're not giving up the fight in, like, how do I want to say this? Like, I feel like with the death card, we have no more struggle left in us, right? But it's not like we're giving up. We've just sort of decided to make a conscious effort to sit still within the moment, within the uncomfortability, within the agitation, the aggravation, the sadness, whatever it is that we're running from. It's time to sort of sit with it, to rest within it, and to kind of acknowledge it. I also feel like this crow here is looking to the future, right? And this autumn card to me feels like we're getting ready to go into fall, which I love that this card is coming to us. To me, this almost speaks to like whatever we do now will start to come to fruition in the months ahead, in the autumn months, right? We're talking like October, November. We'll start to see sort of the true transformative changes of whatever it is that we're willing to sort of sit with now. Those things will either heal, transform, or change. And by autumn, we'll understand why we had to kind of face maybe, whatever demons or upsets that we didn't necessarily feel so self-assured about facing. If we face them now and we utilize this time, this new moon, whatever, to allow them to kind of teach us in a way as to who they are and what they're here to show us, we will realign with them, or they will fall away altogether, and by autumn something new will come to be, right? And it's like we will have fully released whatever it is that we've been cycling through, or struggling with, or kind of going around with. And right now, I think that it's okay to allow ourselves to rest, to breathe, to honor ourselves in that way. And if things feel like uncomfortable or overwhelming, that's okay. Just kind of breathe. You can get through this. All right, so let's do what the grounding stone is. Oh, I don't think we've ever seen this one. I don't know if we have. This is on Snowflake Obsidian. This is Passion. What I like about Snowflake Obsidian is not only is Obsidian a very grounding stone and it wards off negativity, Snowflake Obsidian kind of includes both the dark and the light, right? It's like there's a balance, there's an equality in there, right? It has those white dots of the snowflakes in there. So to me, it's not all completely one thing or another. It kind of encompasses all of it. And then this being on passion, the word passion to me speaks to this idea of finding that true desire within you, that sort of emotional push, that excitement again. We may not have it right now, right, with this death card here and this autumn idea of, to me, I really feel like whatever it is we're sitting with or we're facing right now, as long as we face it with sort of this fortitude in a way, that could also be this idea of passion, and grounding in this idea of passion is, what are you passionate about? What do you truly desire? What do you want? What makes you light up? What excites you? Even if it doesn't seem fully plausible or possible at this time, where do we start to open the door for that? If we start to open the door for that, and that excitement starts to creep in, that's when we also start to realize what's no longer in vibration or in alignment with that, this desire that we may be setting up or wanting. That's when we start to maybe have to let go of it through the death card, right? This passion to me also speaks to the idea of, yesterday's truth stone. Like, what are we truly sort of passionate about? And also we had that, what was it, that energy stone on the malachite heart, which associates with the fourth chakra the day before that. So to me, it's this idea of what is in it, what is in our hearts, and that's also where passion can come from, what we're passionate about. Passion doesn't always have to be like red hot blooded love, right? It can be whatever sort of turns us on and excites us. So I kind of get a feeling from these cards that it feels like most of us don't feel like we're in that place right now. And we're desirous of getting there. And we're trying to find our way there. And to do that, I think that what the cards are guiding us to do is to sort of lock onto that passion and ground in the idea of that. Ground in the both the positive and the negatives of that, and sort of balance that through looking at it from all sort of angles. As we look at those angles, if we find ourselves feeling uncomfortable, upset, unhappy, allow those feelings to sort of come about. It's okay. Know that we're sort of stronger than that. Allow ourselves to rest and breathe and acknowledge that maybe certain things in our lives aren't the way that they need to be or that we desire them to be. And then allow for the opportunity for that change to kind of take place and unfold. And that's this autumn card that I feel like we're going to be stronger in almost like, I want to say like 2 months' time. And generally these cards don't necessarily reach out as far as I feel like this deck has been reaching out for this month. But it's weird, these cards feel like they have a longer shelf life than they normally do. Maybe it's these two decks working together, I don't know. So let me read these to you again. I'll read the Death card, which I just read 2 days ago. And then I'll read Autumn. So, the crow has to let go and has made peace with the change that must take place in her life to move forward in a positive direction. Her death is symbolic of transformation and comes with a warning that unless you are willing to allow the part of you to die that is holding you back, the pain or discomfort you feel in the future will be genuine. The card marks a profound change is coming, one that has the possibility of creating a positive outcome. That is, of course, if you can allow the change to happen without fear of the unknown. And that's that part where this crow sort of lays on its back and kind of just acknowledges who it is all the way down to the base level of, it's core being. That's why we see that skeleton, or at least that's how I interpret that design. I don't know if that's what MJ intended from seeing the skeletal system of that crow, but to me, I feel like that's what it's speaking to me about, is just sort of owning who we are and everything that we feel, and then being able to like acknowledge it and then release it. So autumn. What's going on, guys? What are you doing out there? Can you not be sort of weird out there? Let's see what autumn has to say. Autumn. Release the old and rest. Release all of the pressure and expectation weighing you down. Shed it all so that you can recover before moving into a time of renewal. Autumn is when the trees are preparing for the long cold winter and must let go of all of the weight they are carrying in order to continue to grow and prosper. Sometimes you too just have to surrender an aspect of yourself in order to continue to grow and prosper. Again, we have this idea of surrendering, like this death card, guys. The raven on the autumn card shows that there is an opportunity to heal at this time. In Celtic animal medicine, the raven is a bird of healing and initiation. The healing it brings is a shift that allows you to move into a more powerful psychic space where you can be more aware of your needs and desires and be better supported. That's sort of this crow also laying on its back. I feel like he's kind of meditating, even though at best he's asleep. But all right. You know what is heavy, what is holding you back. Is it a person, a situation, a dream? Like the trees letting go of their leaves and the fruit in the autumn, it's time to let it go. When you hold on, you try to control reality, and that never works. When you let it go, you make space for the new to enter your life. You are being guided by your angels and nature herself to release whatever is stopping you from moving forward, and you can do this. When the autumn card arrives in the future position of a spread or as the last card in a reading, it can also indicate that the coming autumn will usher in important energies with regards to your question or intentions. And I feel like by the autumn, like in the next few months, I don't feel like it's September. I feel like this is more of an later October, November thing for those of us that are willing to sit with this death and explore this passion or this desire that's within us, right? And acknowledge both the good and bad within it and come to terms with it as we allow this like repositioning to happen or this transformation to take place. By autumn, we're going to be strong again. This bird to me is like strong, full of purpose, clarity, and ready to sort of move into the new year of 2021 with a more defined idea of what works for us. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, guys. I think that if anything, utilize this energy of this new moon, allow it to transform your space. You could do a very simple sort of honoring of it. Is just writing everything down and setting it on fire and letting it burn off in front of the moon. That's a very simple releasing technique that you can utilize. So that is your forecast for the day. Thank you so much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. I love you all. Take care, and I will see you tomorrow. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.